Tatiana Clouthier, thank you for speaking to Mexico Newsday.
I'm very happy to be talking to you.
So, in your conversation just now, you were speaking a little bit about the programs that the Mexican government has in Central America, Sembrando Vida, the reforestation scheme, and also Youth Building the Future, the apprenticeship scheme. Can you tell us a little bit more about how those programs are working in outside Mexico?
Okay, yes. Since President Lopez Obrador, one of the things that President Lopez Obrador really pushed was to have investment in the countries that from Central America that people want to go to the United States. And he said that it really had, when I'm talking about we, the United States, Mexico, and even their countries, investments in those countries, and the people have a better life or money and will not be dying of hunger, it would be easy for them to stay. Therefore, he has in Mexico, he established in Mexico the program Sembrando Vida, which is a program that gives you money monthly, and you are going to be taking care of your crops, and you're going to be, taking care of your crops. But in Mexico, we went a step further. Once with those crops, they help you sell them. They help you exchange those crops, especially with the people around the place where you live. So you can do, let's say, I grow corn, you grow tomatoes, and we exchange them so we all can have a better way of eating. Nonetheless, one of the things that President Lopez Obrador told all the time, Mr. Biden, was that it was important to have those investments. And have these programs that goes to the roots of poverty and not finding jobs in Central America. And so we, as Mexico, invest in 3 countries and have that program working. If you ask me about now, I don't know exactly how the result is going, but that's one way to stop migration to our country or even to the United States, because people who will not come through Mexico has to be crossing the border in a way to be getting into the United States or not. On the other hand, there was another program that was working too. And as I said before, the northern part of the states do have a lack of workers. But at that time, in the previous administration, we have the train Maya being built, and many of these people were working and helping them, and they would be giving them part-time jobs or jobs for a certain period of time. So then they would return to their own countries. And another thing that the president did at that moment was inviting the American companies through Ambassador Salazar as to invest on those countries. And in that way, it would be less expensive in all senses to put that money there and as to be stopping the people and putting the people into danger on humanitarian reasons, but also it is much expensive no, than not doing it. Also, and I think that is important, and even Roberta, Ambassador Roberta, you said it, we can be having the program that we have in Canada, the part-time job situation, that it is a regular coming in and coming out, especially with foreigners who go to Canada with all papers legal, and you know you're gonna come back, and you go and come back, and that's it's not the same people, same families, and the same community taking care of each other as to be doing that.
So, you'd like to see more legal pathways opened up by the US government?
And you can have it also because she said that there is not enough workforce as to supply the land that they have in the US. Who's going to be doing those jobs, no? So you can have it, let's say you want to be rebuilding Los Angeles. You need certain kind of workers. You can bring them on that special situation and then do a part-time job, legally speaking. If you have tourists and there are periods of time in Arizona or in Colorado, more because there's the time for more people goes. You can have those kind of things happening. I know it can be maybe not enough, but there is a way to find a door and not only close the door and not solve it.
Another thing the former President Lopez Obrador was very strong about, in addition to addressing the root causes of migration, he repeatedly called for the US government and for Congress in the US to approve more aid for the region, especially focused on development programs. I guess everybody can agree or a lot of people agree that that's needed, but can you see that really happening
What happened, and I remember 2 times I was with Kamala and President Biden and President Lopez Obrador discussing this, and I remember they were talking about that. I remember Kamala said that she meant, and she just left a little comment on the side that sometimes the money was not used correctly, no? So what President Lopez Obrador said, what you have to do is give the money directly to the people on the investments kind of, I mean, the type of investment you do. And I'm going to put an example of what had happened with the underwear and cotton clothes that was made before in Mexico. Since it became cheaper to do it in China, people took their companies to China. You can do that in Central America and do a special adjustment in a treaty and says all the clothes we're gonna be buying it from ID. I'm gonna say this, no, and we're gonna put the fabric in Tahiti, and they're gonna be building processing underwear, not cotton underwear. Well, those kind of things seems to be easy to do and cheaper than just having to pay all the money that we're seeing at this moment and that it is being put into the table as to put more guards on the border, as to be having the immigration police or CBD going to places to looking out for the people like if they were looking for, I don't know, for gold, no? The best thing they could be doing is looking out for the people that sell the drug, and that's the better way to stop it. And on the other way, how do we do as border as not to have the arms being introduced to our country, because also the traffic of people becomes a problem for both nations.
President Shane Bell certainly has a lot of challenges, and to appease Trump by stemming the flow of migration while respecting people's rights to seek asylum is going to be a tough balancing act. Do you think she's going to be able to achieve both those goals, or at the same time?
And first of all, as it was said before, no, we do need to do something on the southern border stronger, no? And again, as I know, Juan Ramon de la Fuente, the canciller, has been talking to the people from these countries, and they're doing things as to address the issue. Nonetheless, Claudia has already formed a team with 34 agencies of the Mexican government, and they put 14 spaces. They build like shelters for receiving the people in case they are deported. But it is important this, and I think that that's where she has been strong, and I think she should be continue being strong on that. It's we receive Mexicans, and you have to bring the other people that are not from our country. You can send them back to their own countries, and not us pay the fee of having them here with all the consequences that is. Nonetheless, Mexico has had since since long before a protection of rights for humanitarian reasons.
A couple of questions about deportations. The Mexican government obviously is opposed to any kind of mass deportation program and has prepared the Mexico Te Abraza program, Mexico Embrace You program. There's also been a lot of talk about there'll be additional consular support and whatnot. You spoke a little bit about this before, but if a person is going to be deported, I mean, it's quite limited what the Mexican government can actually do I think you mentioned a softer process. Is that all the Mexican government?
No. What they're doing in the consulates, no, there is an emergency button, no, that you push, and the consulate kind of helps you with legal assistance. And on the other hand, there is a lot of legal assistance or a net that has been a networking that has been put into for helping the people in case they need that. And as they have been saying, there is a lot of announcements everywhere in the radio, in the TV, through your own phones, that what are the rights that you have and what are the things that you should be doing in case X or Y happens. And on the other hand, if you get deported, no? Again, we are receiving them with the Mexico Te Abraza and uh, programs with the private sector with as to we address them and put them into the opportunity of working again on a field that they are capable of or that they have been trained.
Right. So the government's announced recently, I think, 50,000 jobs for deportees. Finally, you were economy minister for two years roughly during the Lopez Obrador administration. Do you think the Mexican economy will have the capacity to absorb large numbers of deportees if Trump goes ahead and acts on what he says he will do?
Two things that are important. And again, I'm gonna go back to see what happened with Lopez Obrador and what happened to what I heard when we were in these meetings with Biden and the Prime Minister of Canada. No, first of all, the United States after COVID had a 8 million shortcut of good jobs. No, maybe let's say you have now 5. No, who is gonna be covering those? At the moment, you have the need again. No, the need is often, and you're gonna need to fulfill it in a way or another one. On the other hand, Mexico, especially on the northern part of the country at this moment, has full employment. And that means that we are we are bringing even people from the southern part of the country, and we are doing some alliance with the houses that receive migrants. So some of them can be working and arrange their papers so they will be staying and work in Mexico, especially on the northern part, on places where they are takeable of because of their profile. That is happening. And on the other hand, are the numbers that they are giving are going to be happening or not? And let's look through history. If we go back to history, let's think about that. Democrats have deported more people than Biden and Trump. Nonetheless, they were very quiet at doing it so, and they were tougher on that on the way they addressed that very quietly. And Trump, he needs to speak out so he can do the show to his people. No, and he says, I'm fulfilling what I promised you I was gonna do. And in that sense, maybe he needs to talk more than what at the end the numbers are giving. But again, as Roberta said, no, and I will add, what the mercado die already. We don't have the crystal ball in our hands as to be predicting the future.
Okay, I was going to ask you about USMCA next year, whether it will be more than a review, but that's what we'll leave that. Thank you for your time.
You're pretty welcome.
Thank you very much.